Let's take a look at the swing of the great Ben Hogan. We can learn much from these great legends from yesteryear and how they swing the golf club and their fundamentals. And, and the fundamentals of the game haven't really changed that much over the years. We've seen some improvements with modern technology and with some research and science. We're seeing the development of the long bomb game and players gearing their games up to hit the ball as far as they can. But the basic fundamentals of the swing haven't really changed. And Ben Hogan is one of the most studied swings, and for good reason, right? He's legendary ball striker, great major winner, and just a legend of the game, and does so many things well in his golf swing, and really talk a lot about, when people talk a lot about his golf swing, they're obviously talk about his lower body action and his body rotation, which really stands out. He had marvelous footwork and great transition and used his legs so well, which is what Hogan really emphasized in the golf swing in terms of having a consistent golf swing. But sometimes what's overlooked is how he uses his arms in the swing and how well they were connected to his trunk, but particularly to his hands and wrists and what they're doing in the swing and how well he trained those. And the first thing we want to look at in terms of, if we look at his setup here, is just how comfortable his arms are and how well balanced they are. And they're just comfortably extended and reasonably close to his body, and his elbows are reasonably close together. And then as he moves the club away, the thing to really note is this marvelous takeaway position, where here he is in the beginning here, and he just moves the triangle of the arms back to move the club away. There's really no hinging of the wrists. There's no early wrist cock. There's no manipulation of the golf club. All he does is he presses into the right foot with his lower body, and he gets the lower and then gets the upper body going, and the triangle of the arms just goes back, and no hinging at all or early wrist break. And he has this wonderful takeaway where you can see the trunk rotation there, just tremendous trunk rotation from where he started. Now, if we take that back to where he was here in the beginning, we'll just draw a line there through his shoulders there quickly, just to give you an idea of what's going to happen with that triangle as he takes it back, and then he goes back. Partway back, it's just tremendous. You can see he's at waist level there. Hands are at waist level. Great takeaway. Just starting to hinge now there. You can see some movement there, but if you just look at the shoulder angle there, that's tremendous at that point there. And that's something that we can all learn from in terms of moving that club away. Golfers will often snatch that club away at their hands. And when you do that, it detracts from your body rotation. And you end up not being able to rotate as well as you should when you take that club back. So that's the first thing we really got to look at there, with the way he takes that club back. Just fantastic. And we'll get rid of that there, out of there. Get rid of that. There we go. And then at that point there, watch what happens here now. Now he's still rotating. The left arm starts to swing up. And by the time he gets that left arm to chest level, look at the set on the hands now, and look at that wrist cock. So it's a one-piece takeaway, beautiful turn to start, and then he just hinges and lets that club go right up to the top. And that, just beautiful movement. And that allows him to maintain the width in the swing going back. It allows him to keep his left arm extended, and you can have tremendous upper body rotation. And his lower body, he allows his lower body to turn freely to allow his upper body to wind up. So that's just fantastic, good takeaway. And that's all set up by the takeaway position, and then just letting the wrists hinge freely at the top. Many golfers at this point don't do that. They snatch the club away, they get maybe a little bit handsy in the takeaway, and then going back, they don't let the wrist set fully, and then what do they do? Well, they have an incomplete torso rotation. They can't rotate their upper body. And because the wrists don't set, well, then they're going to pull the arms in toward the body. And they're going to collapse their arms and pull them in to complete their backswing rather than have good full width and great arm extension going back. So that's something to really learn from Hogan in terms of how he takes that club back. Just tremendous backswing position there. And let's just take a look at this here and let it run a bit. Wonderful takeaway position there. And then the setting of the hands going to the top. Great turn there. Upper body winding freely. Fantastic setting of the hands. And then right to the top of his backswing, preparing for transition. And then as he starts down, his wrist cock increases. With his transition back, the lower body moving back, the wrist set deepens. And the swing actually narrows at that point. Arms come toward the body a little bit more, and there's tremendous transition there at that point. You look at that position there where, again, no unnatural movement in the hands and arms. The club head's still up over his shoulders, and he's just starting to move back toward the target, and his wrist formation is identical to what it started at the top, and actually it's deepening. The wrist set is deepening because there's no attempt to kind of unwind it and throw the hands out at the golf ball. So the thing to really learn there is the takeaway, and then up to the top, the setting, letting it set at the top, and then maintaining that as you start down. That's key, and that's something all good players do. Maintain that wrist set as you move back toward the target. And then from there, it's not hard to unwind through the ball with great speed and power and make good solid contact. And then as he rotates through, his arms are still close to his body on the transition coming through and to impact. His arms are still extended naturally. They're not stiff or anything, but watch how his arms move with his trunk. They stay close to his trunk. And as a result of that, he can have a great free release, huge extension toward the target, letting the club swing freely toward the target, arms stay close, and then there's the free release of the golf club, whipping through the hitting area. And we can see this free rotation of the right arm toward the target. As he unwinds through, the right arm freely releases through toward the target there. A great width and extension. Arms working with the torso, rotating through. There's no throwing of the arms out at the ball or throwing the arms at the target. Upper chest, the upper part of his arms stay close to the upper part of his chest. Natural connection. You have separation going to the top, but then coming down, the arms return to the trunk and arms stay close to the body. And then you have that great release. Tremendous hitting action through the golf ball. So the thing is, the great takeaway, one-piece takeaway, that triangle moves back. Let the wrist set as you go to the top of the swing. Let them fully set. This way you can maintain the width and you can have a good full pivot. And then starting down, deepen it. The arms follow the body and don't whip the arms at the ball, and maintain that wrist set starting down. And then firing through and let the arms stay extended and the arms stay close to the trunk, and follow the unwinding of the trunk through the golf ball. Tremendous swing. You can learn so much just from watching it. But great hand action, great arm action. That's something that we need to work on and follow. Hogan did such a good job with that. And he had lots of speed and power. In his day, he was an extremely long hitter. The swing of a champion. So work on your takeaway, a little wider, more one piece. Let the wrist set going back to maintain the width and shoulder turn and torso turn going back, and then it'll be a lot better position coming down and through to let your arms stay extended and just smack that ball and make great solid contact. The great, legendary Ben Hogan.